break up, it'll be with me stapled to your arm.
It certainly was an exciting year for theater here at Desert Performs. And although we had to close our season prematurely due to coronavirus, it will be remembered as one of the most rewarding and talked about seasons in our 12-year history. Hi, I'm Michael Shaw, the Artistic Director of Desert Performs. While our doors remain closed, we would like to take this virtual opportunity and share with you some of the talent responsible for making Hand to God, Daniel's Husband, and Sweat so incredibly special this season. This online program, Creating for the Stage, is a series of discussions with those creative people who make theater happen here on this stage. In the final episode of this four-part series, today's discussion revisits our opening production, Hand to God, and features the creative team of designers behind the show that critics said, quote, is a colorful, whimsical, and provocative production not for the faint of heart. Sponsors for this episode include Lulu California Bistro, Ed Money, and Michael Jaworski. Thank you again for joining us for this limited series. And now, please welcome David Perry.
Hi, I'm David Perry, and this is Creating for the Stage, discussions with the people who make shows happen, specifically the shows for the award-winning Desart Performs in Palm Springs. Well, today we're speaking with the designers from the production Hand to God, which ran November 8 through 17 last year. Set designer and production manager Tom Valach, lighting designer Derrick McDaniel, and prop master Cecilia Orosco. Welcome to all of you. So we're going to start with Tom. Tom, did you ever think that you would design a schoolroom literally from hell? I mean, that was really a lot going on there. How did you get interested in live theater and specifically in designing and building sets?
Well, I got involved with theater in high school originally and went on to college, got my degree in drama, and have been designing scenery, lighting, costumes, and props ever since. A schoolroom from hell. No, I didn't think I'd ever be doing a schoolroom from hell. But with every play, there's a challenge, and this one was a fun challenge.
Hello?
Oh, hi, Pastor Greg.
Oh, thank God, Jason.
Welcome to hell.
Door slam! Holy!
Leave or prepare to forfeit your mortal soul.
Jason!
So, Derrick, the next question's for you. You know, my friend and mentor, Anthony Turney, who was the deputy chairman of the National Endowment for the Arts, says, timing is important, but lighting is everything. And I know that you know that's true. How long have you been doing theatrical lighting? And what is it about lighting that attracts you? And what is the real challenge that each show, especially a show like Hand to God, with so many special effects, including, well, you know, a possessed puppet, provide?
So what got me into lighting was that I was an apprentice for a theater called Theater East. That was 1995. And what you had to do to be an apprentice is you had to also do stuff behind the scenes. So I kind of got into lighting, kind of got mentored, and then, 25 plus years later, here I am. So I got into it like that, and then designing challenges for me is basically to light the show and make it as though the lighting is a character itself, however, not overshadowing the characters on the stage. That's what I always strive for.
What's he talking about?
He's crazy! He's a child! He's possessed!
Who's the child?
He's bugging the body! How can you fuck a child? Timothy's right! The devil's got him!
The devil? You want the devil? Ah!
Yeah, I mean, as I remember when I played piano to pay my way through theater school, I always said my job was not to be front and foremost, but to make other people shine. And Cece Orosco, a lot of people don't understand the challenge of a prop master. I mean, you're the person backstage that makes sure that the fake gun isn't a real gun and becomes an Agatha Christie mystery, right? So how did you become interested in live theater and specifically in working on props?
So I got into theater when I was really young. I was about 10 years old. So it was the end of elementary school, and my friend had asked me to join her musical theater class at the YMCA. And from there, I really just fell in love with the art. So I continued through middle school, and then high school, I started working with outside theater companies. And I actually wasn't into props until Michael Shaw had asked me to do props for a show. And I think what drew me into that was just the attention to detail, because that's really what props is. It's, an actor needs this to to tie the rest of the scene together. And yeah, it's definitely something. It's something great to see all the little fine details come together.
And Tom, people always talk about the director, but in a real sense, each one of you here today is a director of your own special unit. I mean, you, Tom, specifically as the set designer, how do you work with the rest of the creative team? And what is it that makes for a successful collaboration?
As a set designer, once the director gives me the script, I read the scripts sometimes a few times and think about it. And then we typically have a meeting, just the two of us, and talk about the approach or the vision for the show. And then I go back to the drawing board. Sometimes I do sketches. Sometimes I'll actually start with a rough model just to see where things physically need to be. And once I refine that, we might meet again or talk again. And then we'll typically have a production meeting and I'll present my ideas. Sometimes that goes very well, very smooth. Sometimes the lighting designer or the props person will toss out an idea and we'll all go, there's a way to solve that problem. And then we fine tune it, and then we get building, and the rest is, kind of like clockwork.
Yeah. Derrick, from a lighting point of view, when you first read the script, Hand to God, what were your thoughts about how you would light it? I remember when I first read the script, Hand to God, my first reaction was to call Michael and say, oh my God, people are going to be either screaming or fainting or walking out. I have never seen such a wicked puppet in my life. How do you light something like that?
Well, I agree with you, because when I read the script at first, I went, really? Palm Springs? Really, this is a theater for that? An arena for that? Okay, Palm Springs has changed. So what I did, when I in the Hand of God, what I just thought is like, okay, just handle it like you would any other play that you've come up to, and just start thinking of great ideas of, this would be great if fog is here or smoke is here, or this would be great for this color would be great on this, and that color would be great for that. And collaborating with Tom, just mixing all that together, makes for, things like you have to have spooky type of lighting, and then you have to have lighting that, nothing's going to happen, or it just seems normal, and, just on and on for that.
So, Cece, my question for you is, in your role as prop master, how would you define it? And in that show, did you consider the puppets to be props or characters?
So when I first read through the script, I definitely got excited because I knew it was going to be a fun project to do, since it was so different from the other shows that we've done. But as far as the puppets go, I feel like maybe I was the only one, but I definitely thought that they were characters. I didn't really look at them as props because the actors did a really good job of bringing them to life. So they were definitely as much a part of the show as everyone else.
When I have put myself ahead of the group, When I have acted badly in order that I may stay around the campfire, all I have to do is say, the devil made me do it.
So, Tom, every set has its own special challenges. What were the special and unique challenges about designing this demonic schoolroom? And there was so much destruction going on during the play. I'd like to know if when you did your design, you saw it destroyed first or pristine first? And how do you design that change during the course of a play?
Those people who have been to desert shows in the past, like Perfect Arrangement or Maytag Virgin or Daniel's Husband, know that the women's club space is very small. And for me, that's the biggest challenge. The proscenium is only 24 feet, and there's only 3 feet of wing space on either side. I don't think a lot of audience members know that, because we utilize every single inch of that stage. That was the biggest challenge with this show, certainly, because we knew we wanted to have the pristine in Act 1, and then during intermission with the curtain closed, make the change over to the destroyed second act. And in order to do that, I had big sections of wall that needed to be moved. Props needed to be changed, doors changed. So that was the biggest challenge, was fitting all those pieces like Tetris on a very small scale. That was the challenge.
Yeah, so Tom, did you have nightmares after the play, or just when you read the script, or just because of the design?
No, I don't usually have nightmares about current shows I'm doing. I often have dreams about some other show where there's some odd thing going on, and I'll wake up and I'll think, what was that all about? But not typically about a current show, because I'm thinking about it during the day, and I try to let my mind sleep at night.
Yeah, I would definitely say pretty nice and clean was nothing that anyone used to describe Hand to God, although it was more fun than anyone should have. Derrick, as a lighting designer, I'm sure you've come across some incredible challenges in your career. It's kind of a two-part question. Talk to me about what was the greatest challenge you had lighting Hand to God, and then another challenge that you faced as a lighting designer that maybe didn't go so well. And you don't have to name the play or the production if you don't want.
Okay, so no names, right? Now, okay, so with Hand of God, it was the biggest challenge, and I'll echo Tom a little bit, is that the space was so small, and it has got very low ceilings, so it's hard to get lighting instruments to angle the way you want them to. And then I had to talk with the producers and the directors and say, hey, I need more stuff out towards the audience, and that was a thing, because sometimes like those lights take up seats, so it was a balance for that. But Hand of God was fun as it happened. When we got through with it, I'll say there was another lighting situation that I was in where I had planned all these great things, and all this stuff was supposed to happen, and the director was like, yeah, let's do this. And then the writer came in and went, oh, I didn't want any of that. And it just all went away. So I won't say the name of that play, but it wasn't in Palm Springs. So.
Cece, kind of the same question for you. What were the greatest challenges you faced as a prop master for Hand to God? And remembering that show now, I can see it like it was yesterday or last night. There was a lot going on. Did you ever have a moment when you thought, did I put that prop there or didn't I? What was your quickest, oh my gosh, did I get that prop there at the right time moment? Or was it just perfect?
I don't know if anything ever went perfect, but as they say, the show must go on. I think the most difficult time I had with props for this show, and specifically, was having to get double of everything for the big changeover, and making sure that whether it was top of show or once the big change happened, that everything was in its place, because we had to switch out the posters and the chalkboard, and then a whole wall had to move to, show like the demonic toys. So that was always a little bit stressful, and making sure that the candles were off when they needed to be, or they were on in this scene and then off in the next scene. So that was a struggle, but it definitely kept me alert and kept me aware of everything that was on the stage. So yeah, I think having doubles was probably the most challenging.
Right. So kind of a quick round for each of the three of you. I'm going to ask you two questions all the same. And the first one is, Tom, for you, if you had to use just two words to describe Hand to God, what would it be?
Crazy comes to mind immediately, because it is just, I'm sorry, batshit crazy. But colorful. I think this one was really good because it was so colorful, and we used primary colors and crazy mixtures of stuff, which was, for me as a designer, great fun.
Got it. Derrick?
I guess, well, we're going to hell.
and Cece, same question for you.
Chaotic but fun.
Chaotic but fun. Okay, and Tom, tell me yes or no, and then briefly describe, if there was, knowing how racy and raunchy that play was, and just fabulous. Were there any people that when you told you were working on this show, you thought, I'm going to have to give them a warning before I bring them in? Tom?
Not any of my friends. I knew, relatives who were religious would not be seeing this because they lived so far away. But all my friends, anybody in the Valley, would have a good time with this show, no matter what.
Derrick?
Yes. Like, this is not your normal play, so watch out.
Yeah. And Cece, you?
I thought about giving a warning to my mother because she comes to every show that Desart puts on, but I thought it would be more fun to just let her go in blind. But she had a great time.
Yeah. So we're coming close to the end of our interview, and I'm going to ask you all the same question, and please expound on it because it's the obvious question. So during this period, the great pause, I call it, what have you been doing and how have you been doing, and what are you most looking forward to when this is over? Tom, let's start with you.
I've been sewing and using my skills to make masks and hospital gowns for the CV Mask Project. And once that was completed, then I've been sewing masks for friends and family. And it's turned out to be a fun thing because, as we all know, we need masks right now and will for a while. So I'm using my sewing skills, and we're doing some projects here at our new shop in Cathedral City and keeping busy and looking forward to the future.
And Derrick, what have you been doing during this strangest of theatrical seasons?
So what I've been doing through this pandemic season here, well, I went from having stuff booked all the way from March to the next March and the next year to absolutely nothing, zero. And then all of a sudden, one of the theater owners who is in LA decided to do something called streaming. So a theater, streaming from his theater. So that literally saved us, or has saved me a little bit. Because we go from, we're in a theater, right, with 3 people and the artist, so 4. And we literally stream from the theater to people in their living rooms and wherever. But, we're still doing lighting and all that kind of stuff. So that's been a thing. One school that has just figured out how to do their distancing really well, that everybody was like, okay, this could work. So I've done that. And other than that, I have been working on learning other platforms and getting into QLab more and all these other things that I always wanted to do, but I never had time because I'm like, I got to go design the next play. Well, there's no next play right now. So actor. That's what I've been doing.
And Cece, how have you been getting through this great theatrical pause?
You know, I really threw myself into school. Not that I was neglecting it during the theater season, but I've had a lot more time to focus on that now. But there's not a day that goes by where I don't miss going to rehearsals or reading the next script for the upcoming show. And being a theater major, it makes it that much more difficult because theater's just always on my mind. And I think that's why projects like this are so important, because it keeps the theater community alive without being able to have people in our seats. So I've just been hoping for the best, and I can't wait to get back into a theater.
Great. So my last question for each of you is based on something that I've observed, and I know all of you have as well. The audience for Des Arts Performs is passionate, and every theater everywhere has its core audience, the people who love it. But Des Arts Performs is truly a beloved part of the Coachella Valley theater scene. I want each of you to talk now to the audience, break that fourth wall. What do you want to say to the Des Arts Performs audiences who are watching you now and who hopefully will be back in person real soon? Tom?
I think, well, I miss the collaboration. I miss working with other artistic people. I miss the crazy lighting designers, the fun props people, the costume people, the wacko directors, and those crazy actors. I miss all of that, and looking forward to getting back into doing that, since I've been doing theater for 40, 50 years. Yeah.
Derrick?
Well, I would say I'm rather new to the Des Arts family, but the plays that I have done so far have been tremendously great. And I know that just going from those couple, you're going to want to see the rest. So just wait and for it to come back, and it is going to be better than ever.
Cece?
I love this question. Okay. Something to the audience. Thank you for all of your support. Thank you for your continuous support. We hope to see you again. Wear a mask. And like Tom and Derrick said, it can only get better from here. So just wait, hang on tight, and we'll come back stronger.
Well, Tom, Derrick, and Cece, thank you so much. Working with Des Arts Performs here in Palm Springs over the last few years has been one of the great experiences of my life. I'm a theater kid. I remember being on stage with my kindergartner teacher, Grace Kelly, believe it or not. And from the moment she had me sing Sunrise, Sunset at age 6, I was hooked. And the type of theater that Des Arts Performs does is the sort of theater that hooks you in your brain and in your heart. It's been a rough year for all of us. As my husband said, we're not all in the same boat, but we're all in the same storm. Now, with professionals like we spoke with today, on stage, backstage, front of house, and all the volunteers that make it happen, we will keep on keeping on. My special thanks to Michael Shaw and Clark Duggar and everyone who makes Des Arts Performs a true Palm Springs experience. I'm David Perry. Goodbye.